Welcome back to another episode of Accelerate the Great. I'm your host, Nehemiah Davis, and today I'm excited. Well, every episode I'm excited because I get the opportunity to bring you some of the greatest, some of the brightest, some of the best minds in the business world. And I get to bring them to you so you can learn their strategies, so you can literally get in their mind for a moment and learn how not only they help grow their business, but they're helping grow so many other people's business. So today you're in for a treat. We're going to talk about mindset and we're going to talk about funnels and why these two things are instrumental to your business growth. So of course I had to go find one of the best people to do it. One, she's an amazing businesswoman. Two, she's an amazing funnel creator and just sales funnel processor. Like, she's just amazing. So I had to bring Kim to Accelerate the Great today. So without further ado, I would like to bring Boss Lady Kim on Accelerate the Great. What's up, Kim? How you doing?
I am awesome. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm amazing. Thanks so much for taking time out your day to be here. Listen, guys, I was a little afraid because Kim and I had the podcast scheduled, and for two reasons, two times I had to reschedule. And I was like, I really value her time. I know how much it is. So I'm like, please, Kim, do this for me. So thank you, Kim, for getting back on the line. I appreciate you.
No problem at all. Listen, iron sharpens iron. So we know that sometimes we have to stick and move as business owners. So I totally understand and get it.
I appreciate it. So for you, you've been a business owner for a while, as well as helping people for a while. But the thing I noticed that a lot of us, we kind of overlook, right? We overlook how important having a proper mindset is when becoming a business owner. Because the thing I realized, especially with me teaching youth entrepreneurship, I understand if the kid's mindset isn't right, they're going to quit. Same with adults. I realize if they're willing to quit after one no, if they're willing to quit after one defeat, they literally won't make it in the world of business. So for you, how important is mindset, and what's some mindset shifts that you kind of help and coach people through?
So I think mindset is like the number one thing that we always have to work on. And that's not just in business. That's like emotionally, mentally, when it comes to our health, when it comes to how, we are raising and breeding in our families, when it comes to, even think about it when you think about someone who's an athlete, mindset is important to them as well. And I think a lot of times people go into business and they think that it's going to be like this cakewalk because they see so many of us out here grinding and they see our successes, but they don't really see the climb that we go through. So for me, mindset is huge. I tell people all the time, you can't even go on this journey if you're not willing to shift your perspective on how you're really going to get to the goal, because the road is not going to be peaches and cream. It ain't going to be like walking down Market Street. You're going to have to you have to go up the hill.
And that's true. I mean, that's 100% true. I noticed for me, I worked on my mind for years and just get me in the place of this has to work or this has to work. Entrepreneurship is the only way I know. I have to make it work. But it was hard to do that. It wasn't just a switch that you just click on and I'm the most positive person. Oh, I believe everything gonna work. Oh, so what are some things that you how do you get people in that mind? So when you're starting off with somebody, Kim, what do I need to do? Kim, I need to get my mind right.
So the first thing I always look at, where they're coming from, right? So I'm a Philly native, so everybody out there. And so I grew up in West Philly, 40th and Market in the 90s. You know what I mean? So when I tell people all the time, I'll be like, I'm from the block. So we coming from the block, we just think differently. But even when I went into corporate, I kind of had to make a shift because even though I was from the block, I couldn't be of the block moving through a 9-to-5. And, when it comes to going into business, it's the same thing. What helped me, it was a couple of things that I had to do. The first lesson I had to learn is that when it comes to just putting your, trying to switch how you think, the first lesson I had to learn was to change my language. Because a lot of times we don't even realize how negatively we talk about every single thing. It's so crazy. And literally just changing how I said things and switching the tone to make it more positive. Instead of I was just telling a young lady the other day, she was God willing, she's going to find a venture capital so she can have this build down. And I was like, nah, if that's your goal, then, just instead of saying God willing, you need to show up and be yo, you need to show out. I talk so, sorry, y'all. I was you just need to change your language. You really just need to be I need to know what steps I need to take in order to get there, just dictate my way. You are the leader in this. So sometimes that's the number one thing, is switching your mind, is switching your language, changing your language up. And that's a self-correcting behavior. Like, I'm 9 years into this, and daily I have to still switch my language sometimes, especially when I get frustrated. The second thing I had to learn was I had to look at mindset shifts, especially in the entrepreneurial space, a little differently. Because we hear about, like, the Abraham Hicks, and we hear about law of attraction and people talking to the universe. And, even though I didn't grow up in the church, I do have a Christian background. So I was conflicted when I first started hearing about law of attraction, because I was like, one, it didn't make sense to me, because I was like, why would I pray to the creation, meaning the universe, when I can pray to the creator? The other thing about it was I felt like it was misguided faith placement. So I talked to my pastor. I actually grew up at Sharon Baptist Church. So I went to a family day, and I was talking to Pastor Reed one day, and he was like, you just need to shift your perspective. Again, shift your language. And he was like, because honestly, all of that work, like the journaling, the affirmations, he was like, that's nothing but just affirming your faith in Christ. So you don't have to pray to the universe. You can still pray to Christ, Kim. You can still journal. Just look at your journals as writing out your prayers. Because when you look at the deeper meaning of it, it's still the same journey. They just, again, using different language. When I've got that was the major click that I had to have that helped me go, oh, wait a minute. We can do this. We can rock this out. And it can really be amazing. And once I got that part, and then I worked daily on changing my language and sentence structure, those are the two things I always get at people with. Like, so sometimes, like, people see me on like Facebook and Instagram, and I'll see my followers, I call them my village. When I see them saying something or they do a caption, I'd be like, change the language. And I just change that sentence right up for them. They'd be like, oh my gosh, that just feels so much better. It feels so much more refreshing. And I think that's the two things that we need to really do.
That's good. I like that. And I think they sound simple, but they things that can literally change the trajectory of your life if you apply it, right? So
and absolutely. Like, even like I got nephews. My nephews are 13, they twins. And I'm constantly on them. And they be like, I know Auntie changed my language. Like, they get in trouble in school. I'd be like, why it happened? They want to blame everything else. They be like, but you know what, Auntie? If I would have just did this, like, it wouldn't have happened at all. Exactly. Because you still have to self-affirm and take some responsibility in that. Even when it's sometimes, you got to always play your position. And teaching our kids, especially for you, because you do, like, the youth entrepreneurs, like, just helping them understand, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to, like, change the trajectory of a child's future if they can just see the long game that's ahead of them.
Wow, that's key. And you know what else? Just another key is exposure. Like, one of my favorite quotes is, once your mind is expanded to a new concept or idea, it's hard to go back to its original way of thinking. One of my mentees, he's 13, and one of his best business months, he made like $11,000 or $12,000, right, selling his t-shirts. It would be very hard for him to ever go get a job, because not too many jobs are paying you 5 figures a month, right? So his mind has changed to only know this has to work, as me being an entrepreneur, or it has to work. So if you're listening to this right now, how can you put yourself in a position that's going to make you want to change your mind? Like, for us, we can't work, because we realize what you can do as a business owner. We realize how much time freedom you have. We realize how we can make things work for us, but we had to get here. So one of the things, as anyone listening to this, what position can you put yourself in that's going to make you, one, change your language and change how you think about things? And I think that's another key. Just wanted to make sure
I definitely agree with that. Like, for me, like, when I started my business, I was still in corporate, and I was actually in leadership. I reported directly into the C-suite. So I was I was a team leader by the age of 20. I was a manager, director, global VP. I did like everything you can do besides C-suite. I done did in corporate, and I built my business while I was still in the 9-to-5. And honestly, I don't have the story of, and I tell people this all the time, because a lot of times when we talk to entrepreneurs, a lot of people have that, I can't stand my job. I hated corporate. That wasn't me. Like, I worked at Independence Blue Cross Blue Shield. I had the good job.
Right.
And I was like, I liked my job. I wasn't at Blue Cross Blue Shield when I left, but I loved my job. And I only left my job because business became so freaking amazing. Like, and I just
They forced you out.
Yeah.
Business being so good forced you out.
Yeah, because it was like, I don't have to do this. Like, and to the point that the president of our division was like, why are you still here? I was like, because I like y'all. He was like, no, it's time to go. You know? And I haven't looked back since. And that was like 2015 when I went full-time corporate. And I'm still, like, I left corporate full-time and I haven't looked back yet.
Wow. So what was the components of you getting so overbooked that you had to leave your job? Because there's someone listening right now, Kim, who like, man, I feel like I'm getting enough business now. I might can leave my job. What made you really say go all in? Did your business replace your full income? What was that thing that made you say, hey, I know it's time for me to leave? A lot of people want to leave, but they waiting to hear it from somebody. So what's your advice on that?
It wasn't always peaches and cream. Let me tell you, I started my business in 2010. From 2010 to 2013, I made a total of $24,000 in my business. But I thought it was the best side hustle ever. Because when you have a 6-figure career, you get an extra couple of $1,000s. You think you're doing something.
Absolutely.
And then I tripled. I went from $24,000 to like $86,000 in like 12 months. And then I tripled again. I went from $84,000 to $232,000. But here was the key that said it was time to go. Because the only reason why I decided to go hard in my business was because of 2 words, Sally Mae. I was so sick and tired of my student loan bill. Because what happened was I was paying my student loan bill faithfully. And I got that little white paper in the mail to go do my taxes. It was 2014, but I was paying 2013 taxes. And I had paid over $8,000. And that all it went to the interest. I was so disgusted. Like, that was my heartbreak moment. Like, you know how people be like, oh, my lights was off. Like, I was getting evicted. No, I paid $8,000 and it all went to interest. I was like nauseous. I was like, oh, this got to go. Right. So what happened was I started grinding because I wanted my business to work to pay off the student loans. And one day in 2015, it was like September. And I called Sally Mae because I was paying my bill by quarter. So I was just sending like $10,000 here, $15,000 here, $20,000 here. And I was like, what's my balance? And she was like, oh, it's like $3,000 some odd dollars. And I was like, can I pay it? And she was like, you want to pay it in full? I was like, yeah. I said, do you want credit card or do you want to like take an ACH payment? Right. And with that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, I paid off $72,040.32. My entire student debt in like 18 months. At that moment, I had to stop and go, wait, how much money have I really made in the last like year and a half? And that's when I went back. When I made my first $100,000 in a year, I didn't even realize it because I was so focused on the mission. And the mission was pay off the student loan debt. And when I had that moment and I paid on, and I got on Facebook and I had the little meme up about the student loan debt. And I was like, with the paid thing, I was like, done. I ain't never going back to school. And if I ever go back to school, I got to pay for it in cash. And that for me was like, wait a minute. I don't have to go back to nobody's job ever again. And so it just so happens that at the same time, my company was relocating. And they was doing everything they could, all the bribes to try to get me to stay on and move to Colorado. And literally, even my bosses was like, you really do not have to do this. And so December, I just left. But for me, it was the student loan debt. And I just had a couple of other things that I wanted to have in place. My whole thing was, how much money did I realistically have to have in order to sustain the life I was living in corporate? Because, we look at the salary and we go, oh, as long as I replace my salary. But I also had to, because I was in leadership, I know to think about a couple other different things. Like, we may make $120,000 a year, but your entire package, your value to the company may really be like 135, 140, because they're paying your health care, they're paying into your 401k, they sending that tax statement off to the IRS on your behalf, like they doing all of that. So I had to look at it like, can I cover that and still be comfortable? And it was no doubt in my mind that I couldn't. But again, there was also a language shift and a mindset shift, because I really don't think if that had happened like a year prior, I would have made the same decision.
Wow, that's crazy. But look at that, something so negative, and not negative, but you wanting to get out of student loan that so bad made you go hard. Like you might, if you didn't have that student loan debt, I'm not saying you would, but you might be still chilling at the job because you like, man, well, money's still good. I don't have to worry about that. But a lot of us look at, negative things and not see the blessing in it. Those student loans was, based on the story, sound like it was a blessing because it propelled you to go hard. You paid them off, and then you just kept the momentum up in your business.
Yep, it definitely did. And then also too, one other thing had happened too, because when I started my business, I didn't start my business as the sales funnel strategist. I was not the funnel trap queen at all, right? Actually did personal branding because I came from corporate. I was doing customer service. I was doing sales. So I knew how to build a customer service department and make customer service work really well. So that's what I was teaching people. And literally, I had people was coming into my business so hard that I only could take clients on weekends because I still had a 9-to-5 job. And I would charge people an extra $1,500 if they wanted to meet during the week, and people were paying it. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I was like, they willing to pay me $1,500 extra for a weekday appointment. I'm onto something here. And that's when, like, literally I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. And my mom was still living at the time. And she was like, baby, if you want to do it, you might as well do it. Wow. And I just was like, you know what? Well, everything shifted. And sometimes I also believe this, like, I know a lot of people who follow you definitely, like, you know, are believers in Christ or whatever. But I also believe that sometimes literally you have to have that physical thing placed in front of you in order for you to really take the leap. Because even though we know we need faith and we got to take the leap, it sounds good when people say it to you, but we don't always make that jump. And I think with my company being sold and having to move to Colorado, and it was like, do you move to Colorado or do you take the package, right? And it's like, I'm really not moving to Colorado. Like, I don't know if you've ever been out there, but it ain't for us. I was like, I'm really not moving to Colorado. And it was like, I know I'm not moving to Colorado, but I could have easily took the package and went and got a new job. Or I could have just moved to a different position in the company and still been working. But I was so like loving what I was doing, showing up for people and being able to show people how to really shift their own businesses, that I was like, yo, this is like truly, like when you truly find that thing that clicks for you and goes, this was what I was meant to do. Like I could show up and do this in my sleep. Like when you find that thing, your whole attitude about it changes. Like, you know, just thinking about like that 2015, like I get goosebumps even just thinking about it.
I think that called purpose, I think.
I mean, that's when people truly find their true purpose. And also not just your purpose, but you step into what your message should be.
That's good. So you're saying, so if you were to explain, how do someone find, like for me, a lot of people say, yo, how do you find your purpose? I'm like, it's different for everyone, but a few things, or your passion. I said, what comes easier to you and harder to others, right? And what could you do for the rest of your life and not get paid for it? And not saying that you don't want to get paid for it, but you need to love it that much. Like I love entrepreneurship so much. I love working for myself so much. Like it doesn't feel like work. I could do interviews all day. I could do entrepreneurship all day because I love it. So do you have any suggestions for someone? Like what steps do you take to find your purpose? Like I know you share basically how you found what would you talk?
I really believe those two things. Those are the two things I say to people all the time. What's something that you really enjoy? Like if you had to think about what's the thing that, you know, all your family, your friends, and they come to you for advice or ask you to do, what is it? Like everybody has, I feel like 3 things that you good at. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so for me, like, you know, I can make a mean pot of oxtails. Like, you know, so family, when the holidays come, they like, Kim, you got the oxtails? I'm like, I got you. Like, you know what I mean? Like when it comes, even my friends, like, you know, when they trying to think out a business idea, they on FaceTime, they calling me up, and literally I will walk them through a strategy. And I didn't always know that was my thing. I literally, when I tell you guys, what I did was when I decided I wanted to start a business, one of the things that really like gets under my skin though, I ain't even gonna lie, when people be like, I want to start a business, I don't know where to start. And I'd be like, what do you know how to do? Like, honestly, and I'm not being funny, I'm like, what do you know how to do? I didn't know I was good at sales. I didn't know that I could get somebody on the phone and they would give me like, you know, $20,000, $30,000 just because I asked them to. I didn't know that. Wow. But what I did know was I knew how to run a customer service department. I knew how to run a team. So when I got ready to start a business, that's what I did. I literally took my skill set that I used every single day in corporate and I turned it into a business. And in the process of turning that skill set into a business, I was able to shift and find what I really wanted to do. I talk to a lot of people who come to me for sales funnels, right? Because that's what I'm known for. That's what I branded myself as. And in talking to them, I realize sometimes they're not in business for what they really want to do. It's usually something else underlying it. And I'm like, well, this doesn't, whenever someone is feeling resistance, like, I know you probably met people like this too. Like you can give them the entire system step by step and they just won't do the steps. And usually that's because it's a level of resistance there. And when we start talking, I start realizing it's because they're not doing what they want to do. They have a skill set that they want to monetize, but they won't monetize it either A, because somebody told them it was a stupid idea, B, because they think, well, this is the thing that everybody knows. And if everybody doing this, why should I? Or 3, it's like, I don't know how to get it done, right? And the reality is figuring out how to get it done, that's the easiest part because there's resources everywhere. 2, who told you that it was a stupid idea? Somebody else who don't have a business because they don't count, right? They really don't count, right? And that's what I say. First, look at your skill set. What is the thing that you know how to do to come super easy? And then, like you said, like, what are you really passionate about? So for me, I'm passionate, like, my skill set is if you was to pull somebody on the line, I could help them figure out their business strategy because that's what I'm good at. But my passion, like the message that I need to tell, the story I need to tell, the person I need to be, is because I know how important it is for Black women entrepreneurs to be able to have a thriving, profitable business. So what, we start in businesses at we're the highest rated group for starting new businesses. But how many of them are staying in business? How many of them who have businesses so profitable that they actually live on the other side of abundance? They're not working from sun up to sundown just to pay their mortgage, right? So my whole thing is I want to be able to take my skill set and use it to feed it back into the community because that's my passion.
That's good. That's good. I hope y'all taking notes. That's good. So you touched on sales funnels a few times in here. Let's talk about why a sales funnel. First, for those who don't know what it is, what is a sales funnel? Why should you have a sales funnel? And what's some components to a successful one? Let's dig into this topic.
So first and foremost, what is a sales funnel? A sales funnel is nothing more than the things you are probably already doing every day to build your business. In the simplest way to say it, it's just how you structure all of your marketing activities into one system. So that way it's doing 3 things. It's attracting your ideal clients, it's priming them to buy from you, and it's turning onlookers into buyers. Your sales funnel only has 3 jobs: attract, prime, and convert, right? I think where people get so confused at is because so many people are talking about sales funnels right now because it's like trendy, and everyone has either they pro sales funnel or they anti sales funnel. And personally, I look at it like this. I don't know a business out here who doesn't have people in a funnel. If you want to know why you go on Amazon and you look for something and then you turn around and you see it on Instagram, it's because they have you in a sales funnel. If you want to know why you go on Wayfair and you look up a bar stool, and next thing you know, the app sending you notifications about bar stools, you get an email about bar stools on everything, it's because they got you in a funnel. And the reality is, just because you are a small business owner, even if your business is broke or broken, you can still play with the big boys as long as you have the tools to use it. And my job is to make sure you know how to get the tools to use it. So, and then when we talk about the components of a sales funnel, right? Like the basic sales funnel, you just have to have a way to attract people. So like if you are retail, right? And I define retail by people who actually ship physical products to a consumer. Like, you may bribe people to get on your email list with like free shipping offers, a discount. That's nothing more than like your freebie, your lead magnet, or what we would call. If you were a service-based business, that may be like the quiz, the PDF. I always tell people though, I think people get too hooked up on what should my lead magnet be? Because at the end of the day, if you're a small business owner, even if you aren't the face of your brand, you are the lead magnet because your customers are really true. You have to connect with your customers. So that's important. The other thing is how email marketing outside of social media, because of the dreaded Facebook, Instagram glitch today, everyone should have email marketing, right?
Facts. Listen, facts. Facts.
So that's big, right? Making sure you have your email marketing set up. And then also making sure you're utilizing your email marketing, because just because you're building your list, you also want to make sure that, you massaging that list too. So the same dedication that, people put into showing up on Facebook, showing up on Instagram, showing up on Twitter, you definitely want to make sure that, you talking to your list, like, a couple of times.
How often you suggest in terms of email marketing? Let's get it. How often should you be messaging your list? And what would you say, how much of that should be sales? Like, should it be value sales? Like in a month or in a week, how many of those should be sales? How many of those should be value? As you said, massaging your list. I know you don't just want to blast them with just offers.
Well, here's the thing, right? So let me add, before I answer that, I got to add one thing to that.
Absolutely.
I do sales funnels differently. Like, so I am not by any means an internet marketer. I use the internet to market my business. That's two different mindsets, right? The reason why I need to say that is because I believe in connection. So sales funnels for me is about how do I connect with my target audience and how do I build that know, love, and trust factor. I don't want the know, like, and trust factor. Anybody can like you. I want my people to love me, right?
I like that.
I want them to tell their friends, family, and followers, go follow Kim McCarter, buy from Kim McCarter, right? So anytime I email my list hears from me. Some people on my list hear from me every day. Some people may hear from my list at least 3 to 4 times a week, because I definitely believe in showing up in people's emails like 3 to 4 times a week. And there is never a time when I send an email and it don't have an offer in it, because I also believe in the philosophy of sell every day. You don't get mad when Amazon sends you 5 emails a day. You probably open 3 out of 5 of them because you don't want to miss your lightning flash deals. So why you want to treat Kim McCarter? I'm helping you make money. Amazon wants you to spend it. So what's the difference?
Ooh, SED, sell every day. I just coined something from Kim. Well, it's hers, but I'm gonna borrow it. Sell every day.
There should never be a time, because guess what? If you don't ask for the sell, no one's guaranteed to give you their money.
Facts.
And then also it's 3 other reasons why I believe sell every day, though, right? One, we all know, because we are in the age of social media, the algorithm is always changing. The algorithm sucks, right? So you're first of all, your village, your tribe, your audience is always evolving. People are coming out, people are going in, they're not on Instagram this week, they're on Facebook that week, right? So everyone is not seeing everything. So even if you said the same exact thing with the same exact catchphrase, with the same exact link every single day, everyone is not going to see it. That's number one. Number two, the other part of that is when it comes to, again, the audience is growing, so people moving in and out, right? That's number two. Number one is your audience, the algorithm sucks. Number two is your audience is moving around. And number three, who is going to check you? Who's going to get on your Instagram or your Facebook and be like, you sold that to me yesterday? That's your job. You're a business owner. You are a business owner, right? Your job is to make money in your business. Your job is to sell. And that's where I think the sales funnel comes in at, right? Because some people do feel like sales is sleazy. I don't think sales is sleazy, because my whole thing is like, when I got to pay the mortgage, the rent, the gas, the electric bill, money ain't sleazy when I got to swipe that debit card to pay that bill, right? And the only way you're going to get that revenue is if you sell it, right? So that's number one. Well, that's probably like number 4 or 5 now that I'm thinking about it. But that's my point, though. Like, you know what I mean? You got to have the revenue there. But when you have a sales funnel in place, you don't necessarily have to manually show up and sell to people every day, because now you have a system in place that does it for you. So literally, especially for those who are the introverts, oh my gosh, I can't say that, but you can type it out and send it in an email, boo. Trust me, we got you, right? Because you never know who's watching. So you definitely sell this should not be a day when you're not asking somebody for some money.
Wow. And that's good, because, and it's funny. I know you work with CC, and she told me one day, hers was always be selling, right? So y'all the 2 powerhouses who said, I'm like, I got to start selling more. I just be trying to be nice. But like you said, I need to be doing it, even if, and here's a little side note that I've done. I'll send an email with value coming on a PS line. I'll put a little sell in there. Like, also just in case I got a special offer going on with my coaching. If you're interested, click the link. So that's another way. Any of your hot email subject lines that work well for you, or any other email hacks you want to share?
Yeah, so my whole thing is I definitely tell people, one, the first thing I always tell them, right? Like, decide how often you want to email your list. I'm telling you guys, you want to be emailing your list minimum 3 times a week, right? And sometimes what you got to do to get people on a schedule is kind of like think of your own themes. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, it may be like Webinar Wednesday, or it might be like, you know, Manic Mondays or Tips on Tuesday, whatever it is, right? Because at least that helps you stay on theme and it makes it easier to write your emails, right? The other thing that you want to think about is you want to make sure that you get to really know your audience and you speak their language, right? So one of the things I'm really big on when I was branding myself is I didn't want to be corporate America Kim in my business because I had been corporate Kim for so many years, right? And I just wanted to be 40th and Market. Like I wanted to be the West Philly girl in my business, right? So I just made sure to bring that into my business. So when I talk to my email list, like, you know what I mean? Or even when I talk on social media, I tell people how you see me online, that's the same person you want to see when you meet me in person. That's going to be the same person you're going to hear on the podcast. So I always speak my people's language. The other thing is when I have a sales email, like if I'm doing something, it's a discount, I put in there in the email savings inside. I put in there open. I say things like open up because those are triggers for people. But most importantly, I make sure that when someone opens up, and I always do this, like I'll be like, okay, like right now I'm looking at my inbox, right? When I look at my phone, I'm like, how many words can I put in here that people can see and still know what I'm talking about in a sentence, right? So for instance, like Cece just sent the email. She said the world isn't ending, Instagram is just down. But I know exactly what her email is going to look like, what it's going to be about before I open it. Sometimes people be wanting to do parentheses, like reminder, blah, 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 blah. And you don't even know what the email is about. You don't need none of that. You need that catchphrase that's going to make your people go, oh, Kim got something to say. Oh, Nehemiah got something to say today. Like, you know what I mean? So stick to those catchphrases and keep them in a bucket. So on my notes app, I just have like, on my notes app, I have like a catchphrase list and I just keep them on there. And also when you see an email come through your inbox and it spark your attention, think about the things that make you click, right? When someone says deal, flash sale, those things really work. Those things really work.
And just to add, here's another one for me. I like to put, and guys, I hope you guys are taking notes. This stuff works. But first, Kim, thank you, because I got to really increase my emails to 3 to 4 times a week. For sure. And then here's the other thing, guys. One thing that I do is I put like an emoji in my email subject line because everything is about a pattern disrupt. So as I go down my email, it's not too many emojis I see. So when I see one, it really triggers me to read it. I don't know if it does that for you, Kim, or if you send it, but that's something I'd be like, let me stop. Let me check it out.
Yeah. So I have a lot of clients that works for, right? But I've also trained my audience. Like I believe in being a leader, right? So because of that, my audience knows I'm not really too big on emojis, right? Gotcha. So like putting an emoji in the subject line, that wouldn't trigger them. Like it probably would. Like sometimes I do it as a disruptor, like on Instagram, but it's very rare that I do because my language is a trigger for them. Like just that I show up and I go funnel trap queen and I tell people I got that from Fetty Wap because I like trap queen. Like hello, right. Like, you know, so my language is already disruptive. Like, you know what I mean? So and ironically, here's the other thing. I believe in the power of storytelling. I have taken storytelling classes. I've taken creative writing classes because when I started my business, remember I told you guys I was going to do personal branding. So I thought I was going to be like the next Lisa Nichols, Les Brown. I was going to Les Brown seminars. So being able to speak and be entertaining, that's my thing, right? So because of that, like I bring that story into my emails. So like my emails, like the one young lady I was talking to today, she was like, I would so look forward to your email. She was like, even if I can't afford to buy what you're selling, I just want to read it because it's always so engaging how you bring us to the sale. So for me, like I said, with sales funnels, it's about connection and really being able to tell various stories that get people to the sale. And before you even ask, I'm going to tell you how I do it. So one of the
good. Look, I'm listening and I'm sure everyone else is.
One of the things I do is like, we always talk about what do you know about your audience, and you have to talk about their pain points, right? And I don't like talking about people's pain points, because sometimes what happens is we put people in their pain points and we forget to take them out. So what has happened is we'll talk about the stick of what they're in, and we'll leave them there so that way we can make a sale. That doesn't feel good to people, and it doesn't feel good to me. It doesn't align with my integrity. So instead of talking about people's pain points, I tend to talk about the situations in which the pain points show up as, right? An example of that is if you out here building your business, you grinding, like you working 16 hours a day trying to get your business built. You wake up in the morning, you get the kids off to school, you go home, you go to work, you try to sneak in and do something on your lunch break, you come home, you cook, you got to help the kids with your homework, you put the kids down for bed, and you got to get ready to do it all over again. You try to sneak in an hour or two to do something on your laptop for your computer. So now let's say now your husband done went to bed because he got to get up in the morning, but you still on the computer. You don't go to bed to 12, 1 o'clock at night. He done already been asleep for 2 hours. The next thing you know, that's been your routine for 3 months. Right? And let's be clear, if you and your wife or you and your husband going to bed at different times for 3 months, that's not a happy home. That's just honest, right? So the problem is she's working so hard building her business, right? Everybody who's a business coach is showing up saying, you're overworked, you're overwhelmed. I'm showing up asking you, when the last time you slept with your husband? Because then she go, wait a minute, that's a disruptor, right? Because everyone else talking to her about she's overworked and she's overwhelmed, but I'm talking about how does overworked and overwhelmed show up? And not just by being tired, but what are you missing out on as a wife, as a mom, as a sister, as a friend? Because you're overwhelmed. Let's talk about that. And not only do I want to talk about that, I want to talk about how you can change your situation. And if I can tell you how to change your situation and you see me as the crossing guard, the person that gets you from one side of the street to the other with these simple 6 steps, guess what? I'm forever your best friend, whether you ever buy from me or not. And even if you don't buy from me, you're going to tell someone else to, because every day you should always be selling, because everyone you meet either needs what you have or knows someone who does. And my job is to make sure you remember that every single day.
And look, if you're not, I'm doing a disjustice to you if I'm not letting you know this amazing offer I have for you.
Yep. Because I can help you out of your situation.
Right.
Like literally, I have the steps. And here's the thing. People always go, but don't you be so fearful because you're going to give too much away. No, because the reality is most people that I work with, because I don't really work with a lot of beginners. I work with people who really they already know what their skill set is. They've been trying to build the business and they don't know, they validated the offer, meaning people have bought their stuff, but they worked really hard to make the money that they have and they want it to be easier, right?
Right.
And when they get to me, because they want it to be easier and they see the bridge, they see like, oh my gosh, it's right there. I just got to get over it. A lot of times they know what they need to do, but they need the accountability and the support to get it done. Because again, not only am I talking to them about sales funnels, I'm talking to them about the mindset shift. What language shifts do we need to change? What things do we got to start doing daily? Because the reality is you can have all the strategy in the world, right? But if you ain't partnering that to make sure you living right mentally, physically, emotionally, none of that stuff makes a difference, because you cannot build a business when life is going to hell.
So everything around you got to be righteous too.
Yep.
That's good. So for you, so let's talk about you telling like, hey, I need you to write 3 to 5 emails a week. Should someone be looking for a copywriter, or should they just be sitting down focusing on trying to write this? Like for me personally, I don't mind writing, but it's not like I'm better at other things, right? So is that something you say, hey, outsource this, or no, sit down and try to knock out 3 to 5 emails per week? What's your suggestion for someone listening?
I tell people to do this, right? First of all, everything in your business is repurposable. I don't even know if that's a real word, but you need to repurpose.
I like it though. It is on the accelerate repurposable.
So everything you do, it got to be able to be used somewhere else, right? So for someone like you, if you can, like for you, for example, Kim, I don't write 3 to 5 emails a week, but I could do other things. I'm literally going to tell you, Nehemiah, you already got an assistant. Your assistant need to go pull your videos. They need to go pull your old podcasts. They need to send them over to Timmy, get them transcribed for 10 cents a minute, right? And they need to go through it, pull out the hot quotes, pull out the blog posts, and just repurpose the information. You don't have to sit around and write 3 to 5 emails. You need to tell them, listen, this is what I'm looking for. And they just need to go repurpose that information, right? Now, is that going to be a training situation? Yeah, because, you may have to write out the steps. You're going to have to walk them through it once or twice. But when you have the right assistant, they'll get it done. Like, you know what I mean? Yep. So for me, I always tell people, I want you to stand in your power. I want you to do the things that you are well at, right? That's one of the reasons why, one of the things I push is fill in the blank email templates. I push stuff that can make people's job easier, because I don't want that to be your excuse. Oh, I ain't had time to write the email. My most powerful email is one sentence. Literally, it goes, Kim, I have a question for you. And then the inside is, if I could do one thing to help you in your business, what would it be? Reply back and let me know. Because all you got to do is reply back and tell me how I can serve them. And guess what? I know what my next course needs to be. I know what my next bundle needs to be. I know what my next sale offer needs to be. I know what I need to talk about on Instagram, social media, and everything. So you literally just got to look at it and go, first of all, what content do you already have that exists that you can just pull the emails from? The second thing is, if you knew and you don't have any content, I always go look at your audience. The first thing you need to do, step one, is really know who your audience is and how well you know them. Then you need to look, once you look at your audience, what are 12 things that you can talk to your audience? What are 12 questions that you can answer for your audience? And once you know what those 12 questions are, whether you write it out, whether you record yourself on your voice app, you pull out, your iPhone and you create a video, you go Instagram Live, Facebook Live, your job is to show up and answer one question a week. That's 12 weeks of content. Think about it. That's 12 weeks of content. And every time you do that big piece of content, you just need to say, okay, now that I created the video, now that I went Instagram Live, Facebook Live, I did the podcast, I need to turn it into an email. I need to turn it into a blog post. It needs to go up on YouTube. We need to pull some Instagram quotes out of here. We need to pull some Twitter captions out of here. We can pull some Facebook captions out of here. Guess what? Now those 12 captions, those 12 questions, now they become content for an entire year. Because what you're talking about on Instagram on week 1 is what you're talking about on Facebook on week 4, is what you're talking about on Twitter on week 7, is what you're talking about on YouTube on week 8, because you're not going to put it up on all platforms at the same time. You want to kind of just come up with your own schedule to make it work for you.
Ooh, guys, I'm taking notes while I'm podcasting. I hope y'all listen. Kim is dropping some serious game. And I like that, Kim, repurpose everything. One thing should be 5, 10 things. Like you said, 12 things. It's insane. Yep. So that's incredible.
The other trick I can give you too. A lot of times, especially those of us who lead other leaders, when we are helping people, we'll be like the 6-step system. 5 things you can do with this, 4 things to do this, right? And then y'all want to get up there and y'all want to tell all 6 steps at one time. So now you've been on Instagram, Facebook Live for an hour, right? There is no law that says that just because you have a 6-step system or you have 6 steps, 6 tips, that you have to give them all in one sitting. You literally can do an introduction and do tip 1. Tell them, listen, guys, I'll be back in a day or 2 and I'll give you tip 2. Come back and do tip 2. Come back and do tip 3. Because now you have 6 pieces of content instead of 1 big piece of content. So sometimes we also just got to get out of our own way. Because the reality is most people ain't sitting around listening to you on Facebook Live for an hour anyway. They're going to drop off. They're going to come back. You really only have to be there that good 15 minutes to really capture the essence of what you're doing, unless you're doing food blogging or something like that. Then that's different.
Gotcha. That's good. What's some of your favorite softwares now? For me, email is ConvertKit. Webinar, I use Webinar Jam and Zoom. Do you have any favorite softwares that you would like to share? Because everything for me is about how can we help make someone's entrepreneur life even easier. But a lot of times we aren't utilizing software and just programs that help us do so.
Yeah. So for me, My favorite, so when I'm doing webinars, I'm a webinar jam girl too. It's either webinar jam or Zoom, right? Either or. I'm definitely using those two. I create a lot of how-to videos. So I use like Loom, which is a free plugin right on Chrome. I use Loom to record my screen or whatever. Number one thing is everybody goes, should I use lead pages? No, you shouldn't. So I know a lot of people love lead pages for whatever reason. I believe that I don't like lead pages for people who are new to sales funnels. And the reason
come closer, Kim. You sound a little far away. I'm not sure.
So
there you go.
I don't like lead page. So I'm not really a big fan of lead pages. I prefer ClickFunnels over lead pages, and that for two distinct reasons. The first reason is because ClickFunnels makes it super easy for you to put that funnel together. Because in lead pages, you just create a bunch of landing pages and you have to connect them yourself. And if you don't really know what you're doing, you're going to mess it up. In ClickFunnels, it connects all the pages inside the one funnel for you. It's already doing the work for you. Two, it's a price difference because you can get on ClickFunnels for just $19 a month if someone shares a funnel with you, which also, again, makes it super easy to get your funnel up and running. Lead pages, you pay $80 a month, and you may not be in a position to really be able to finance that cost up front, right away. So like when it comes to like funnel software, I say ClickFunnels for the beginner. Webinar Jam, Zoom when it comes to webinars. I'm an Entreport girl. For my email system. Of course, everyone doesn't have to start out with Entreport. Entreport is a full client relationship management system, so I can do everything in there. So if someone's not ready for Entreport, I definitely tell them they could either use ConvertKit or even MailChimp, because now MailChimp is trying to compete with everybody. So, that platform has definitely come a long way. So between MailChimp and ConvertKit for email, when it comes to graphics, I pretty much use Canva, and I'm the girl that knows Photoshop. I know like how to code, because again, I'm from corporate and I'm sales funnels, right? All that stuff wasn't out back then, so right. I know how to code and I know how to use Photoshop, but I prefer Canva because it's super easy. It's right there. Like I can use it, keep it on my phone. Let's see. So graphics is Canva, webinars is Zoom and Webinar Jam. Landing pages, I do funnels. I prefer ClickFunnels. My email is Entreport, but if you're just starting out, you could definitely do MailChimp or ConvertKit. I'm trying to think. It's something else that I think I use. And for me, a lot of the apps that I use are on my phone, like in the in-house apps. I use my notes app every day. I use my voice app every day. Like, my voice app every day, my notes app every day. And those are things that are just right there. But when I'm recording, I'm using Loom. Like, I'm not the person that goes out and buys a whole bunch of expensive stuff to build, like, a multi-7-figure business. I still do my videos on my iPhone. Like, I don't have
I agree.
And stuff. Like, and people get so shocked when I do my videos for my courses on my iPhone. Yeah. Like,
and that's crazy because I think us, everyone listening, we think, we need the best camera. Start where you are with what you have. Use your, I think the iPhone is so underutilized. Like, I recorded a podcast episode in my memos, right? I record my ad videos on my phone, everything. I listen to my podcast on my phone. Like, literally, I barely use my laptop. I use everything on my phone. So people understand, if you have a phone, you can have a business.
You absolutely can. And that's one of the things I believe about, and I'm going to let you guys know this, when it comes to sales funnels, you're going to hear a lot of people, like even me, like I have my preferred way of doing things, right? But the reality is you can build a sales funnel with whatever you have going on right now in your business, right? If you're not ready for like the landing page software, you can build your landing pages in ConvertKit. Like, there's never an excuse to not get something done. Like, you know what I mean? So just remember that, like, every email service provider has a landing page software right now. Canva is free. Like, so you literally have no excuses to not getting it done.
Yeah. Look, the only excuse, we got to remove all excuses, especially if you want to be a successful 6- and 7-figure and 8-figure business owner. You're not going to get there by making excuses, really.
Changing the language.
Language. Look, my friend told me the other day, I'm sorry, Kim, he's like, hey, I'm even going to make, it's either two type of people. There's someone who's going to make it happen or make an excuse. You choose which one you want to be.
There you go. Bam. Oh, I like that.
You know, is you either going to make it happen or you going to make an excuse? I can almost tell people are going to be successful versus people are not, because successful people don't make excuses. Absolutely. They just say this has to work or it has to work. I'm going to find a way to make it work. Like for me as an entrepreneur, the word no don't mean no. It means next opportunity.
It means next opportunity, or what can I learn? Like I tell people all the time, it's like, you know, we hear people say there's no such thing as failure, and people are like, but it didn't work. But first we need to look and see why didn't it work, right? Like what's really going on. I always tell people when something's not working in your business, it's only 3 reasons why. And it's either the offer, the message, or the traffic, right? And a lot of times that's backed by your inconsistency. Let's be clear. Let's be clear, right? So it's either the offer, the message, or the traffic, right? A lot of times, like we have unrealistic goals. Like I was talking to someone the other day, and she wanted 100 people to sign up for her paid masterclass. But the reality was, when we looked at the numbers, she was only in front of 200 engaged people. So you looking at to convert at 50%.
50% is probably less likely.
That's not realistic. Your traffic is off, right? The reality is your funnel is working because you have 8 people signed up. So even at 8 people signed up out of 200, you above average. Let's be clear.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? So your funnel is working, but your traffic is off. But you look at it as it didn't work. It's a failure. I don't want to do this again. Change your language. People suffer from what I call KTD syndrome. I know that. I tried that. I done that. It didn't work. Right? Listen, but did you try it my way? Did you try it my way? Because I'm telling you, if you try it my way, I guarantee you get better results. Like,
yeah. And it's funny you say. I was doing I did a webinar, and I was telling my one of my mentees, like, "Oh, in a webinar, we was able to make this. It's like 27,000 or something." And he was like, "All right, bet I'm about to do it all." I'm like, it ain't as easy as it sounds. Like, just because it sounded like it was easy, go try it. And he tried, like, bro, we sold like 3 programs. I'm like, bro, it takes time. Like, a lot of us we think we're going to do something once. You can't build a sales funnel and think you're going to get the results that Kim may be getting when she's been doing this for years. I truly believe it takes time and practice, but a lot of us never get to where we could be because we quit too soon.
We quit right before the breakthrough. We quit
right before. I don't know. You ever see the meme where the guy hitting through the rocks and he decided to turn around? If he would have hit the rock one more time, the diamonds would have came out.
Yep. But you know, there's a parable, I think, in Think and Grow Rich. There's a parable about that. How, like, when the guy was digging for gold, like in the 60s.
Yeah, 3 feet from gold.
Yep, 3 feet. Like, it's so, like, and we still do that to this day. It's crazy. It really is. It's really crazy. Like, we still do that but I also kind of blame social media for that a little bit too, right? And the reason why is because we live in a world right now where we get instant gratification. Like, you don't even think about it. Like, you can now order like from Amazon, and Amazon deliver in 2 hours where it used to be 2 days, right?
Wow.
Like, so we live in a space of so much instant gratification that we think and so many people only tell the successful side of their journey. It's like everybody's like, oh, I want that life. I was talking to, I was in an Uber the other day, and I was talking to the driver or whatever. And I was like, it's crazy, because he was talking about like how like his sister was like she wouldn't get no job. She was trying to build a business. Like, you know what I mean? She's sleeping on the floor because she didn't want to buy furniture because she wanted to use the money to invest in a business. And I was like, you talking about her sleeping on her floor right now. But let me tell you something. When her grind is over and your sister is making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, you're going to praise her for sleeping on that floor. And he was like, never thought about it like that. I was like, yeah, because we will dog people and talk about them when they in the brunt work of it. Because nothing's working and we're like, oh, they always borrowing money. They doing this and doing that. I was like, but when she becomes the success story, everyone praises her for sleeping on the floor. Isn't that crazy though? That's so crazy. Like, and we think about it.
And that's crazy. That's how we are. Like, oh, I know them back then, but why do you support them? Why do you encourage that at that time? So you said one more key, Kim. I want to get you off of here because I know how valuable it is, but I'm super grateful. How do you create? Because I think this is important. Let's touch on it. The irresistible offer. Like, a lot of us, we've been told sell, but we never been told offering, which is bundling, which is just making your deal so good. It's like, I feel bad if I don't buy what she's offering or what he's offering. What's some steps to developing an irresistible offer? Because like you just told me, it's 3 things that stop people from succeeding. I think you said the offer, the traffic, and what was the third one?
The message.
The message. So one of those things is off. You may be leaving thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions on the table. So what's some steps to creating an irresistible offer? We heard about the message so far. That's what the emails and various things.
And we talked about the traffic, because the traffic is just a numbers game. Like, so here's the thing when it comes to having an irresistible offer, right? Stop selling the offer. And I know people are going to be like, what? What she mean by that, right? You need to sell the result. People don't care how many times they get to talk to you. They don't care how many templates you're going to give them. They don't care how long the course videos are. They care about what they're going to get on the other side of it. What's the outcome? If you learn how to sell your result, you ain't never got to sell another course, because the reality is nobody wants your course. Nobody wants to be coached. People buy because they want the result the course or the coaching provides. Even if you are a product-based business. I don't care about your t-shirt. I don't care about your weave system. I don't care about your skincare line. What I care about is it going to help me glow up? When I use your moisturizer, am I going to be glowing? Is this chocolate skin going to be popping? That's what I care about, right? When I buy your hair, I don't care that your hair is a 20-inch bundle or it's Brazilian or Malaysian. What I care about is how am I going to look in it? When I buy your t-shirt, I don't really care too much about the slogan, but I do care about the fit, the feel of it. Like, you know what I mean? So people need to remember, what is it, the result that it provides? Like, what are you really, and what are you really giving to the people?
Features and benefits.
When you can stand clear in the result that you provide to people, they will forever be grateful. And they will always be like, how can I get that in the most accessible way for me? Right? So for me, I know I help people sell their offers every single day. I have 2 jobs. My job is to make sure that your clients see the value in what you do and they're willing and able to pay for you. And I'm here to help you sell your offers every single day. Now, when you tell me that you're ready to make sure your offers are selling every single day, what I say to you is, how do you need to be supported? Are you someone that needs to have a check-in system? Meaning you can hit me up on Voxer, you can throw me a DM. Are you someone that needs a phone call check-in? Do you have a team? Meaning if I came in and I taught your team how to do it and they got it done, would that be beneficial for you? Or are you the person zigzagging across the world and you can get it done on a plane? Because then once I know the result that you want and how you want to be supported, then I say, well, you should buy this course, or you should sign up for this coaching package, or you should attend this live event. Because now it's not about that course, that event, that offer. It's about making sure you get the result that you desire.
Facts. Ooh. Listen up, people. Listen up. And Kim, as we come to a close, how important, because you and I both avidly invest in ourselves. We've seen each other at a couple conferences, and we're there getting information because we understand the more you learn, at some point you're going to remove the L. So I want you, how important is coaching for you and just getting out information that can help you get to the next level?
You know, my family teases me because I'm like the forever student, right? Before I got the idea that I actually wanted to pay off my student loan debt, I used to avoid paying my student loan debt. And I used to avoid that by making sure I always went back to school, because as long as you was in school, you ain't had to pay it, right? That's my own truth. Right? No judgments on here, right? So they used to tease me because I was the forever student. And honestly, that hasn't changed. But you know what? What has changed is how I look at education. The reality is I am always required to level up. And the reason for that is just because of my upbringing, but also I am a woman. I'm African-American, like, you know what I mean? And we already have those hurdles. So we always are, I was raised to always know I had to go 3-4 times as harder, right? But now I'm in a space of leadership. And I know that not only are like my nephews looking to me, my great nephews. So when I say my nephews, guys, I'm talking about my great nephews, my niece's kids, right? So not only is my family looking to me, but now I got this whole internet community that's looking at Kim McCarter. And the reality is I don't want to breed a bunch of Kim McCarters. I want to breed people who can also be leaders. And I feel like as a learner, as a leader, my job is to be a sponge. So I always need to be absorbing information, because the more information I absorb, the more information I can pass along. And as long as I am always making sure that I'm not just talking to people who want to be where I am, but I'm also looking to my left and my right. Because when I'm sitting in the audience, you on my left, right? And then my homegirls is on my right. I still got to be able to share that knowledge that I have with y'all. And sometimes even the people who are ahead of me, because technically we are in a true 360-degree cipher. And the only way that we can push this world forward is to make sure that we're hitting it on all points, because that's the only way we're going to move the community forward. So when I'm looking at my learning for myself, I'm not just looking at it like, do I need to take this course to help my business grow? A lot of times I take courses and I make investments that's not about me personally at all, but it's about learning a skill set that I know that can help my brethren. Because the reality is, as a Black woman, as a business owner, as someone who comes up, I keep saying I'm of the block, right? I also know the barriers that come from being from the neighborhood, right? We know we have generational wealth gaps. We have gentrification taking over. And I tell people all the time, like, I don't want to have conversations about gentrification and rich people moving in and taking over the neighborhood. I want to have conversation about how do we make the neighborhood rich? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember my grandfather selling his house. He had a 3-story home on 40th and Sampson, which was right around the corner from University of Penn. And I remember when he passed away, family selling the house because they got a quick $250,000. And that was like in 98, 99. Right now, that house worth like $2 million. Same. Wow. Right? But imagine if we would have kept it in the family. Because the house was free and clear and paid for, right? Philly taxes ain't nothing compared to what we pay for taxes in Jersey.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, how do we change the mindset? Because, the reality is, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but my grandmother was born in 1913. She was the daughter of a sharecropper who was the grandson of a slave. But they thought so differently than how current grandmoms think, right? My grandma was like, she had to have a savings. She had life insurance on everybody. Like, she had life insurance on everybody. She had a savings. She used to have her little passbook that went to the bank, right? When First Union, when Wells Fargo was still First Union, the First Union was Fidelity. She had the same little passbook. Everybody had a savings account, right? But somewhere along the line, in like the 80s into the 90s, we lost that behavior. And I really think it's time for us to get it back. And the only way we can get it back is if we remember that not only do I need to like coach people who want to be where I am, but I need to raise up the people who are with me and also be willing to look up and go, hey, I can help you with that.
Wow, that's good. And that's why I'm on a mission really of helping youth, because if we help them at 13, 14, 15, they're not going to get in credit card debt. They're not going to get in student loan debt if they don't want to. They'll know how to go to school for free. They'll know to learn the skill. They'll know about real estate investing. They'll know about business wealth. But I feel like we got to get to them now. So it won't be, I messed my credit up because I didn't have no one tell me not to. I didn't know how important it was at that time. So it's crazy just to think like, man, we can literally change lives if we take action. So Kim said something important earlier. Guys, we have to take action on our goals and dreams because we give other people the permission to do it. Some people are waiting. You're listening to this podcast, right? Somebody is waiting for you to say yes to your goals and dreams so they can say yes. Like your kids, they have so much potential, so much inside of them, but they're probably afraid to go pursue their dreams because they don't see you pursuing yours. So if you listen to this right now, I want you to understand you got what it takes. You are successful. You are a business owner. You can generate 6 figures. You can generate 7 figures. You can generate 8 figures. But you're going to have to say yes to yourself. You're going to have to seek out the right information. You're going to have to change your language, as Kim said, and change your mindset that you winning is the only option. And I think that's going to be the way for people to win. So,
absolutely. I couldn't have said it better.
Hey, thank you, Kim. Listen, I want people to know how they can support you. Please share your Instagram. Please share your website. And just the way people can be able to get in touch with you, to hire you for services, to just be able to check out your social media, and just to kind of become a tribe member, become a part of the Kim Village.
So I keep it real simple. My social media, regardless of where you're going to find me at, is Miss Kim McCarter. So that's MSKIMMCCARTER. And I think I sent it over to Richie, so that way he has it as well. And what I did was, I do not believe, so this is a little inside trick for y'all. Like, you could absolutely go to KimMcCarter.com and you can find out all things Kim McCarter. But I also share with you guys a special link, so that way you guys can take my free masterclass and you can learn everything that we talked about tonight. It's all summed up for you in a 45-minute concentrated training environment on how to get that sales funnel implemented in your business in less than 3 days.
Let's go. So listen, guys, we'll drop that in the show notes so you guys can able to connect. And I just want to say thank you, Kim, so much for spending time with us here this evening. We normally do 30 minutes. We went an hour.
But, just for the record, I'm known for that. Like, so it's every time I show up on somebody. So I'm real finicky about who podcasts I do. I'm just, but I always tell people, like, people be like, oh, we're going to go 45 minutes. We end up going 90. And that's just because, like, when I connect with someone that I know I can vibe with, like, it's just natural. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I definitely wanted to. That was
I'm happy I didn't rush 20, 30 minutes. This was fire, guys. So this is going to be one of those episodes you need to go re-listen to maybe 2 or 3 times to really extract all the nuggets, because there was a whole lot of nuggets in here that will definitely get your mind right and your pockets right if you take action on it. So we appreciate that. So listen, guys, we're coming to a close very quickly. Please make sure you're following Kim. Please check out her training. Please go in her DMs, Instagram, and just let her know you appreciate the value that she dropped today. And again, as the podcast grow day after day, I want every guest to come on and know they're appreciated, they're loved. And the best way to show that is with your help. So please go follow her and show her love and support. But with that being said, guys, we're coming to a close. Another amazing episode of Accelerate the Great. Please like the podcast. Please share it. Please rate it. Please review it. And remember, guys, information will change your situation with implementation. So apply this information, and I'm certain it's going to help you get you to where you got to go. So everybody have a great day. Look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. In the meantime, make sure you accelerate to great.